We've all had that sinking feeling where you wish you could reach out into the air and snatch a moment back before it hits the ground. It's that cringing sensation in your gut that follows an emotional text sent at 2 a.m., the sharp words that hurt someone you love, or even that impulsive purchase that's currently sitting in the corner of your room gathering dust. In the moment, we tell ourselves it was just a bad day, or that the other person pushed our buttons. But the truth is usually much more simple and much more within our control. There is a tiny, almost invisible habit that sits at the root of most of our biggest regrets, and today we're going to dismantle it. If you learn nothing else from this entire series, if you take away 0 other concepts from these videos, I want you to learn this one. This isn't about complicated budgeting. It isn't about a personality overhaul, and it definitely isn't about deep therapy. The single most powerful skill you can ever learn is also the smallest, the pause. It's the one beat, one breath, and one moment where you stop your internal system from hitting the automatic react button. Once you start paying attention, this same mistake shows up again and again. It isn't random. It follows a few predictable patterns. Pattern number 1, the evolutionary glitch. A pause is a micro skill that delivers a macro return, but the reason it's so hard to do is that your brain is actually wired to hate it. To understand the power of the pause, we have to look at the glitch in our human nature. Evolution favored the fast. If you were standing on the savannah 10,000 years ago and you heard a rustle in the tall grass, pausing to think through your options was a great way to get removed from the gene pool. Your ancestors survived because they reacted instantly. Your brain is still running on that ancient survival-based hardware. It treats a snarky comment from a coworker or a limited time offer on a website like it's a predator in the bushes. Your nervous system is designed to bypass your logic and go straight to your muscles. This is called the amygdala hijack. It's a biological go signal that floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. In a survival situation, that's great. In a civilized world, it's a disaster. Acting at survival speed in a modern relationship or a modern career is exactly how you create chaos. When you react instantly, you aren't using your wisdom, you're using your instincts, and your instincts are notoriously bad at navigating long-term peace. The pause is how you manually override that evolutionary glitch. It's how you tell your brain, we aren't being eaten, we are just having a conversation. Pattern number 2, speed is the silent enemy of peace. The world we live in is addicted to speed. We have high-speed internet, fast food, and instant messaging. We are trained from birth to believe that the faster we respond, the smarter and more effective we are. But here's the truth. People rarely ruin their lives because they're stupid. They ruin them because they act too fast. Speed is the silent enemy of peace because it removes the friction that allows your logical brain to catch up with your emotions. When you move fast, you are operating on a script written by your impulses. Think about the last time you snapped at someone you loved. You didn't plan to be mean. You didn't wake up and decide to hurt them. You just reacted at the speed of your own annoyance. Speed gives us those mortifying verbal speed bumps where we say something we can't take back the second it leaves our lips. It fuels the buy now button on things we can't afford. It pushes us into agreeing to things we actually want to say no to, simply because we feel the pressure to fill the silence. A pause acts as your personal speed limit sign, turning a frantic reaction into a deliberate choice. You are never more vulnerable to a bad choice than when you are in a rush to make it. Pattern number 3, the anatomy of the consequence pipeline. To master the pause, you have to understand the consequence pipeline. Every single choice you make follows a specific path. Impulse, pause, action, consequence. When you skip the pause, you jump straight from an initial impulse, like being angry, bored, or tempted, straight to the action. It's a closed loop. There is no air in the system, and because there's no air, there's no room for your intent to change the outcome. This is where every toxic pattern in your life lives. But when you insert that pause, even just a quick 2-second breath, something miraculous happens. You create a gap in the physics of your own life. In that tiny window, you get a preview of the movie before it plays. You can actually see the action you're about to take, and you can see the return it's going to bring back. In that gap, you can see the future version of you having to apologize, or having to pay the bill, or having to clean up the mess. That 2-second window is the only place where your free will actually exists. If you aren't pausing, you aren't choosing, you're just repeating. The pause allows you to look at the consequence before it happens, giving you the power to keep your peace instead of trading it for a 5-second hit of emotional relief. Pattern number 4, the time machine. Present you versus future you. One of the funniest and most tragic parts of being human is that we are constantly at war with ourselves. Specifically, there is a massive conflict of interest between present you and future you. Think about the state present you is usually in when a temptation hits. You're often tired, emotional, stressed, or just plain bored. Present you is a dopamine-seeking missile. It wants relief, it wants fun, and it wants it right now. If you don't pause, present you is the only one who gets a vote on what happens next. But here's the problem. Present you is a terrible voter. Present you doesn't care about the hangover, the credit card debt, or the awkward conversation tomorrow. The person who actually has to pay the bill is future you. The person who has to wake up with the regret is future you. The pause is your personal time machine. It is the only tool that allows future you to step into the room and say, hey, can we pump the brakes on this for a second? Because I'm the one who has to live in this house once you're done burning it down. Strategic maturity is simply the ability to let future you have a seat at the table. It's the realization that you are the one who has to live with your decisions long after the fun part is over. Taking a beat to consider the future version of you isn't being boring. It's being an architect. It ensures the person you become tomorrow isn't suffering for the impulses you have today. Pattern number 5, silence is power disguised as dead air. We've been trained by a loud, frantic world to fear silence. We think that if we don't respond instantly to a question or a provocation, we look slow, unsure, or awkward. We've all felt that desperate itch to fill the dead air in a conversation. But that fear of silence is exactly what makes you easy to manipulate. A pause is the act of total strategic control. Silence is a massive advantage in human nature because it shifts the gravity in the room. Think about the most powerful, grounded person you've ever met. They aren't the ones shouting or rushing to explain themselves. They are the ones who take a beat. When you pause before you speak, you do 3 things. First, you appear more intelligent, because people assume that if you're thinking, you have something worth saying. Number 2, you extract more information because silence is a vacuum. Most people are so uncomfortable with it that they will keep talking to fill it, often revealing more of their own hand than they intended. Number 3, you protect your own dignity because silence ensures that you don't overshare, you don't reveal your insecurities, and you don't give away your peace to someone who is trying to provoke you. Silence is not doing nothing. It is doing the smartest possible thing. It is power disguised as dead air. The world wants you to rush, so you'll make a mistake. When you pause, you are telling the world, I move at my own pace. Pattern number 6, the formula for a strategic life. You don't need a complicated system to master the pause. You don't need a meditation app or a retreat. You just need to memorize a 4-step sequence and apply it every time your heart rate starts to climb. Step 1, pause. The moment you feel the impulse, whether it's anger, hunger, or the urge to buy something, you just stop. You don't hit send. You don't open your mouth. You just freeze the frame. Step number 2, breathe. This is the biological part. A single deep breath tells your nervous system that you are safe. It physically lowers your heart rate and pulls the blood back from your survival brain into your logical brain. It breaks the amygdala hijack. Step number 3, think. This is where you run the math. You ask yourself the core question, I want this right now, but is the return worth the future I have to live with? You look at the consequence before you take the action. Step number 4, decide. This is the most important distinction. You don't react, you decide. You are now making a choice based on your intent, not your impulses. This whole process takes 2 to 5 seconds, but those few seconds can save you 3 months or 3 years of cleanup. It is the cheapest and most effective insurance policy you will ever own. And the more you do it, the stronger the pause muscle becomes. You'll start walking away from potential disasters with a sense of quiet pride, that internal high five that confirms you finally chose yourself over your impulses. In conclusion, becoming the author. When you react instantly, you are letting the world write your story. You are just a character in a script written by your hormones, your stress, and the demands of other people. But the moment you learn to pause, you become the author. You stop being the audience of your own life, watching helplessly as you make the same mistakes over and over again. You become the director. You start choosing outcomes that you're actually proud of. A steady, peaceful life isn't built on one massive phoenix rising moment. It's built on just a few seconds of pause at a time. It's built every time you don't send the text, every time you don't buy the shiny thing, and every time you don't let a stranger dictate your mood. The pause is where your freedom is. It is the only place where you are truly in control. I've put together a companion PDF in the description to help you identify the hot zones in your life, the places where you're most likely to skip the pause, and how to build that window of awareness back in. Practice it when the stakes are low, so you're ready when the stakes are high. I'll see you in the next one.